Hey guys, Jesse here, and today I'll be talking about my latest custom and my first custom paint scheme, the Mark II prototype version, or at least what I'm calling a prototype version. Now, before you start typing in the comments, letting me know about the real prototype version, yes, I know one does exist for the Mark II, like in universe, but it's really boring. It's just like black, blue, and gray, and nothing else. So I wanted to make one that was a little more realistic and more interesting to look at. Now, in the real world, when it comes to prototypes, they're usually painted in like these crazy neon colors. A good example are like prototype game controllers. All the parts are printed in like different neon, like green and pink and stuff, and that's to make it easily identifiable from a distance, and to get a good feeling for the silhouette of the thing, to see the part separation in the prototype. Now, I wasn't going to go neon with this guy, but I did want to do something a little bit brighter, which is why I chose white, orange, and blue. Now, for those who have watched my work in progress videos, thank you very much. But there will be some repeated content in this video. But really, this is more of an overview of how I felt the project went, what went well, what went bad, and what I learned from it. So let's just go ahead and take a look. Now, my concept for this, again, was a prototype version, and I was thinking about, what would be a prototype version that would help the engineers put this mobile suit together, which is why I chose to make everything on the left side have an orange stripe. Now, in engineering drawings for assemblies, usually parts have some way of indicating left and right, especially on a piece that's like very symmetrical. And since this, Gundam is symmetrical right down the middle, I feel like engineers would benefit greatly from some way of telling between left and right parts when assembling the mobile suit. So I chose an orange stripe. And I think it's just because I've been playing a lot of Titanfall, and orange on white is very prominent in that game, but I really wanted to do orange on white. So that's how I came up with white and orange for one. I wanted to go for a sort of real grade color separation, which is why I chose light gray for the next color. I just decided to keep the black because it fits well. Black matches everything. I decided to go red, turn the red to orange, and I needed a tertiary color to sort of tie it all together. And because blue is the complementary color of orange, I decided to go for blue for all the yellow parts. I didn't want like a very bright blue, so I paled it a bit, so it's a paler blue. So all these yellow parts became blue, and I think it turned out really well. Also, the orange here is a lot brighter than the orange here, and that's because this is orange on white, and this is orange on gray primer. Now, I should have foresaw that the orange on white was obviously going to be brighter, so I should have primed these white if I wanted it all to match, but when I saw this orange against this orange, and I saw that they were two different shades, I really liked it. It also gave another aspect of the real grade feel I was going for. So it turned out, I think, very well. But yeah, overall, it all came together nicely. The silver is all the sort of inner frame purple that came in with the kit, which was like a really ugly purple, so that needed to change immediately. So I went with silver just because I thought it would look nice. The hands were also that purple color, and if I stuck to sort of my color conversion that I had laid out, these would also be silver, but they would look really, really odd silver. So I mixed up a third gray that's sort of between this light and black, and made the hands that gray. And I think it fits really well. It's more realistic and doesn't look as awkward as it would if it were silver. For all the metallics here, I hand painted all this. This is just that red and that bronze, and all that's hand painted. The silver and the thrusters up here are hand painted. And down here is where I think it looks really nice. All that bronze and brass and stuff is all hand painted. So yeah, I think it, again, one more time, it just came together nicely. For the decals, just real quick, I used some leftover decals from my real grade red frame and my girlfriend's master grade Wing Zero custom. All these circular warning symbols are from the Master Grade Wing Zero custom, which fit actually really well. They're just a little big because that's for a 1 to 100 scale kit, but I think they just look nice. So she didn't use any of the stickers for that because it was a painted kit, so she wants to keep it really clean. So she didn't want any decals on it. But in any case, so yeah, for the good, I'm really glad with the color scheme turned out nicely. I was afraid that the blue would look a little odd, but I think it looks fine. The orange striping went really well for the most part. I think it looks very nice. And the paint application is very nice. It's very smooth, no chunky parts, no clumping anywhere really. And masking also went well. Now, if you saw my review, you would know that I pushed in this part initially just to do like a fitting test, and lo and behold, it wouldn't come out. So I had to mask around these like slivers of gray and then paint that blue, which came out fine. It was difficult, but I made it happen. And then this side, I left that piece out because I learned from my mistake. Another thing that came out really well were the accessories, which I never showed in any of my work in progresses, so the first time you're seeing them. The shield, I really like how the shield came out. I think the decals match this thing perfectly. I used 00, of course, because it's a prototype. This zero were just cut out from the stickers that initially came with the kit, and I even cut out that little tick that they have after the numbers. But yeah, this is really nice. The only thing that I think is a little strange about the shield is I think I should have went with gray and black instead of white and gray, because it's a little bit too much white going on now with the shield, but it still looks really nice. And I wanted a nice big piece of orange because I really like the orange that I mixed, so I turned this black piece orange. I also cut out the connection piece between this handle-like assembly and these magazines. There used to be like a plastic part that connected these all together, but I cut it off, and now you don't have that like ugly flat block of plastic connecting all this together, and it looks more proper because these are meant to be removed like on the kit, and the real grade and the master grade have them removable, but with that connection piece they're not removable, but now they are because I've cut them. And so there's that. Then I have the beam rifle here. Again, painted all this barrel stuff and the magazine and this gunmetal. Then the top part I did that light gray, and then I hand painted in these details. So this brass and that sort of silver pin meant for the scope rotating is silver. On the real grade and the master grade, this scope can go down, but it's just fixed on the high grade. And then I just used that green sticker. So I think this fits in with the suit a little bit better because that dark gunmetal contrasts well with the arm. For things that went kind of poorly, you can tell that down here the striping isn't like 100% straight and clean. That's because I was using like really shitty masking tape in the beginning. I cheaped out on the first time I got masking tape, and I really shouldn't have because it cost me this stripe. Later on I bought better masking tape, which is why the arm is so nicely done. So that's something I learned. Just don't cheap out. get the good stuff, or find a better way than just that. Not much else to say on things that went bad. I think the other thing is you can tell right now that this leg, this white on here, isn't as white as this leg, and that goes for the whole leg all the way down to the feet. And I think that's just because I didn't put enough white layers on this. Some of the gray primers poking through. From a distance, it's really hard to tell, but when you're looking at it really closely, you can tell that one leg isn't as white as the other. So that's a problem there. But overall, yeah, for things that went bad, I think this is one of my more successful customs. Let's just say that. Didn't scratch paint as often as I usually do. I don't know. I'm really bad about that, where my fingernails catch onto a piece, or I push too hard something and I slip and scratch like a huge ding across the whole suit. As you can see, I'm still being very careful not to scratch paint, but I think it's okay. It is top coated and everything. For things I learned, again, use good materials when masking. One thing I learned is, since I used water-based acrylics on this, and panel line accent is something based, I don't know, it's not water-based, I didn't have to put a clear coat between the initial base layer and the panel lines. I just need to let the acrylic cure completely. So I would paint this, let it cure for like 2 days or whatever, then do my panel lines, then clean it up with mineral spirits, and it never stripped any of the paint off. So that's good to know for the future. It kind of saves me that in-between step of putting a clear coat in between. Aside from that, I pretty much just was more careful about how I pin stuff with my clips and all that. Took the proper time not to rush anything. Really took my time with this, much too much time. I kind of got tired of it at the end, to be honest. I'm really glad it's done. But in the end, I think it looks great. Just to go over what paints I used Vallejo Air paints, and Vallejo paints for the hand-painted parts, except for the red back here is actually a folk art metallic red. So that's just like Walmart paint. But as you can see, it turned out really well. For the silver, I used Testors Diamond Dust, so that's spray painted. And for the top coat, I used Testors Aztec, which is their airbrush line of paints, just matte top coat. So, and for the primer, I used Tamiya Surface Primer, the light gray. Another reason why this took so long is because, again, I live in Detroit, so it's very cold right now. So I couldn't work on it every day. I kind of had to work around the weather. You can definitely spray paint and top coat at, under 20 degrees, but you gotta make sure it's not snowing or raining or anything, which, again, I had to work around that. But yeah, I think overall the project went very well. I'm very pleased with the color scheme, and I really like how all the decals and stuff turned out on it. And so that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.